Welcome back. Well, today we have Diane Masson. She's the author of Your Senior Housing Options, also website, tipstoseniors.com. There you go. There's the book. And here's Diane. Good to see you here today.
Great to be here.
Yeah, and a good book, very easy to peruse and read through, just the way it's written. And I like that you get the little drawings of Diane in there too. I don't know if you can see them, but who did the illustrations, by the way, of you?
Steve Hartley did all that.
Okay.
He did the illustration on the cover the whole way through, yeah.
That's something I always wanted to ask because he's very good caricature of you. All right, well, one thing about getting to a certain age and getting to maybe, we all have more health concerns as we get older, but it's very hard at a certain age to figure out sometimes for many people how to identify the differences between choosing where to live, like an independent retirement community or another. You can really get bogged down in that, and it can be certainly later in life one of your most important decisions, right?
Correct. And so today I wanted to give the viewers some tips on some important questions that they should ask when they're going and comparing their options, because when you walk into a retirement community, how can you tell if it's a great one or a mediocre one by just what it looks like in the lobby? And the answer is you can't really tell. So it's vitally important, the questions. So here's a couple of questions for the viewers. One, find out who the ownership is.
Okay.
Are they local? How long have they owned it? So typically what you're going to find out there is it's either going to be on a stock exchange where some of these communities, they have a portfolio of 1,200 across the nation. Some have portfolios of 300, 100 plus. And then other ones are just one or two and they're locally owned. And so you got to decide your choice, what's important to you. My preference is locally owned, where the ownership is very hands-on. Other thing that's kind of a key, and it kind of ties in with the ownership and how often the ownership changes, is there a mortgage? Is there debt on the community? Yeah. So I've worked in 4 states in senior housing, and average debt out there is about $50 to $100 million worth of debt on a retirement community. And viewers might think, well, what do I care? And the answer is that my understanding is that Social Security didn't give seniors a raise this year, and so they're looking at keeping their monthly fees low. And if a community has a mortgage, that means the monthly fee is going to be higher than a place that has no mortgage. So it's kind of an important question to ask out there. And I'm going to say 99% of them have a mortgage and only 1% or less have no mortgage.
Okay, let me ask you along those same lines. Someone may go and ask that question, and maybe that facility, that retirement community, whatever it might be, is not as forthcoming, or they're going, oh, don't worry. How can someone find out on their own? Is there a way to do that? To maybe, you go there and visit, which you obviously should, and you ask that question, as you just said, to ask. You want to find out the real answer, right?
They are legally required to let you know.
Very good.
And each place has what's called a disclosure of care, and that's also illegal, and you can ask for all those pieces of documentation. The other piece of documentation, kind of interesting to ask for, is what have their monthly fees increased over the last 5 years? And legally, they're supposed to give you that as well.
Okay.
So lots of good tips.
Okay, so that's very good, because I was wondering, maybe they want to kind of hide things or something, but they're obligated to do so.
Yes.
Okay, now comparing the quality differences in active senior living.
So easiest thing and probably most important is walk in. What do the residents look like? Do you want these to be your future neighbors? Do you want to interact with them? Do you want to have dinner with them? And you don't always see the most vibrant seniors during the day at a retirement community because they're out doing their thing. So the best time to see the active ones is at dinner. So I really recommend people dine at dinner. And not only you're checking out the food, but check out the dining companions. Are these people that have intellectually stimulating conversation that you want to dine with on a regular basis and you want to be your friends? Check out the activity program. Ask for an activity calendar. They're not all the same. Some have no activities on Saturdays and Sundays. So you're looking for a 7-day-a-week activity program. Go to some of the live entertainment they offer. Check the whole thing out. But I think the biggest thing, Ken, is people should not be looking for just what they're looking for their options today, but what about future needs as well? And let me just give a couple of examples. What if something happens and you're not feeling good and you need a nurse? Does the community have a nurse? And if so, what can she do for you? And that varies per community. And does she cost extra, or he? And you'll get a lot of varying answers to that. Big question that I asked about a year and a half ago when I was looking at places for my mother-in-law up in Seattle, Washington, was I asked each place, what happens if my mother-in-law goes to the hospital? And this is a very telling question on how they answer this question, because they'll answer how they go through an emergency, how they end up in the hospital, and then how do they come back. So big thing you want to find out is who answers the emergency call system. And I ask this at each place, and if they blink their eyes like this, that means they don't know the answer. And best answer is during the day, you want a nurse to be answering that emergency call system. And in the middle of the night, you want at least somebody that's had 140 hours of medical training, like an emergency medical technician answering it. But a lot of places, it's the maintenance person. It's, you know, it's whoever.
You don't want the maintenance person.
No, I mean, this person could save your life. So it's real important that you have a qualified person. And then when somebody goes to the hospital, if they need more care than what's allowed at that community within their disclosure of care that we had just talked about earlier, then they're not going to let you come back. And so now your family in a 24 or 48-hour period of time at the hospital has to find a new place for you to live. So that's kind of a key difference between rental facilities and continuing care, because rental facilities, you're going to have to find something new in an emergency situation when you need more care. In a continuing care, you got a plan in place no matter what.
All right, now we've got a couple minutes left. Let's talk about staffing, the differences in different communities. I'm sure that is something very, very important, kind of the ratio and of the amount of people living there and the staff, correct?
It can be, and as you go up higher levels of care, it makes a bigger difference. And so the state of California has minimum standards. And you're looking for a place that's above the minimum standards. Another key question, because there's a lot of turnover in senior housing, is you go to 4 places, for example, and you ask at each one, how long has the administrator worked here? And 3 out of 4, the answer is typically less than 1 year. And so at Freedom Village up the street, the executive director's been there for 28 years. At the other community I represent called the Village in Hemet, 26 years for the executive director. So it's really unusual. And I think that if you have quality staff that have been there for a long time, you have happy residents. But here's a really interesting story that I just found out about last week. And that is one of our part-time bus drivers at Freedom Village. He found out that there was a full-time opening at Freedom Village, and he goes, I want it. And so we said, of course. And he was working at another rental facility here about a mile from where you and I are sitting. And he went to them and he said, I'm going to go work at Freedom Village full-time now, and I'm going to give up my position here. And they go, well, you're getting paid the same amount of money. Why would you leave here, and why would you go to Freedom Village? And he said, because when I walk in the door at Freedom Village, all the residents say hello to me, all the staff says hello to me, I feel welcome, I feel respected, and I don't have that here. So these are the kinds of behind-the-scenes things that you want to find out about. Talk to staff, talk to frontline staff that's going to be serving you. You know, try the food. These are important things to find out to differentiate quality differences between retirement communities.
All right, yes, try the food. That would be important to me, for sure. that would be high on my list, at least right now. All right, the book is Your Senior Housing Options, and of course, if you want to find this on Amazon and of course Kindle version if you prefer that, and you can download it right to your device if that's what you like to do. That's what I like to do. I'm a digital book kind of
Yes,
guy,
you
so
are.
there you go. And you can find it there. And you know, it's, as I said, it's a very easy read. You could probably get through this, maybe kind of skim through it in about an hour and a half, and then you kind of go back and look more closely at each chapter. It can really help you out. Good to see you again.
Great to see you as
All
well.
right, and you got to look at the caricature of him. It looks just like, it's great. Good to see you.
All right.
We'll be back.
Thanks for having me.